Hey guys, welcome to The Strong Young Man. So many women today have delusions about their own sexual market value. Women become unhappy as they age because they struggle to find a man of the quality that they believe they are entitled to. Women's standards for men adjust themselves depending on what they believe their own sexual market value is, and not what their actual sexual market value is, as determined by men. If they believe their own sexual market value is high, then they are going to have higher expectations of men. It is when there is a massive discrepancy between their self-perceived sexual market value and their actual sexual market value, as determined by men, that women suffer from delusions of grandeur, also known as delusions of grandiosity. Here's how it starts. Women attract men with ease in their peak years because their sexual market value is at its peak during this time. A woman's sexual market value increases from 18 until it peaks at about 23, and during this time she is able to attract men in abundance. She is spoilt for choice, without earning the right. Being at physical maturity is the only prerequisite for her ability to attract men. For most women, the attention will often go to their heads. They begin to believe they are a goddess, a gift to men, and entitled to the attention because of their self-proclaimed divinity. Unfortunately, this attention doesn't last. Her sexual market value declines rapidly after 23, and by 30 she will never be able to attract high-value men in the same quantities that she was able to in her prime. Most women don't understand, or choose not to understand, that their sexual marketability declines after 23. Most women mistakenly believe that their sexual market value should continue to increase to match the rise in a man's sexual market value of the same age. Women completely misunderstand the basis of their own sexual market value. Or worse, they believe that they set the basis of their own sexual market value, and that it changes over time to suit whatever is most important to her. Understand that men set the basis for a woman's sexual market value, because it is men that will pursue women based on what they desire in them. Regrettably, a woman's assessment of her own sexual market value is based on her own solipsistic understanding of what is important to her, and not what is important to men. Most women are only capable of seeing the world from their own feminine frame of reference. This can be explained through the history of evolution. Evolution is largely selected for human females with the capacity to form psychological defense mechanisms that protect their ego against debilitating anxiety, guilt, and distresses. Being able to see masculine problems for what they really are would cause them great suffering. Evolution has largely selected for solipsistic women who are blissfully ignorant of masculine problems in order to protect their psyche. In other words, women have evolved to behave this way unconsciously. As long as it remains in their subconscious, they are able to remain solipsistic without guilt. If the sense of entitlement that was programmed in her early 20s lasts, then it will cause her problems as she moves through life. The continued failure to grasp an accurate representation of their sexual market value as it declines results in a large discrepancy between their perceived sexual market value and their actual sexual market value. These are the women that suffer from delusions of grandeur. Today I will explore why women continue to remain deluded. Continuance number 1. Women mistakenly believe that if they increase their income, they are entitled to a wider range of high-value men who also have higher income. This is really their hypergamous nature expressing itself in the modern world, dating across and up on the socio-economic scale. In reality, as a woman earns more, she actually reduces her pool of acceptable candidates. Because by earning more, she actually reduces the number of men that out-earn her, meaning she is less likely to satisfy her hypergamy. Further to this, some women believe they are entitled to be more selective with their mate choice, reserving themselves for the top 1% of men. Generally, these older, financially stable women are driven, competitive, and disagreeable. This gives them great success in their careers, but poor success in intimate relationships. Masculine traits in a woman are not very attractive to a masculine man. The high-value man is no exception. High-value men with large incomes aren't seeking a financially stable older woman because she doesn't give him what he wants in a relationship. In fact, most high-value men are driven, competitive, and disagreeable themselves. In order to maintain the sexual polarity, these men are actually going to be repulsed by women of the same nature. These men will be more attracted to younger, beautiful, cooperative, and submissive women because this is what is attractive to them. These high-value men also have an abundance of options, and so they are going to be more sexually selective. A financially stable woman who continues to believe that her own sexual market value increases as she earns more is worshipping a false economy. The more she earns, the larger the discrepancy between her self-perceived sexual market value and her actual sexual market value, increasing their delusions of grandeur. Continuance number 2. Women are also deluded when it comes to what is really out there. This goes back to what I mentioned previously. Women are innately solipsistic. They are not capable of seeing a realistic perspective of the sexual marketplace. They will only see what is in their immediate frame of reference. They believe the top 1% of men are everywhere because that is all they see. Low-value men are conveniently invisible to them. A woman's hypergamy does not care about the trials and sufferings of the bottom 90% of men. If you ask a woman what they desire in a man, they will describe the top 1%. Almost every single woman is like this, regardless of her sexual market value. What makes these women think that he would settle down and be sexually exclusive with them when he has an abundance of options? These men are in the top 1% of all men, and they are going to select the top 1% of all women, not the bottom 99%. The less entitled a woman, the more likely she is to attract a man anyway, because she has a good attitude. Looks will get her attention, but her attitude will get her retention. Regardless, these high-value men won't select one person. He has the option of sleeping with many women. Women often require their ideal man to be sexually exclusive with them, which you are never going to find with a top-tier man anyway. Women need to understand that these men are not available to satisfy every woman and remain sexually exclusive at the same time. This will leave a lot of women disappointed. If all women believe they are entitled to the top 1% of men, then it stands to reason that the women with the lowest sexual market value, according to men, will develop the highest levels of delusions of grandeur. This is because these women have the largest discrepancy between what they believe they are entitled to and between what is really out there for them. As a man, understand that you could tick off all these requirements on a woman's list and still not be able to evoke sexual desire in her. Most of the time, a woman doesn't even really know what they want in a man because they think with their emotions and not rationally like most men. If you meet her minimum requirements, she will consider you as a provider. But she is still capable of cheating on you if the right circumstances present themselves. She is more than capable of having a one-night stand with Giga Chad, who evokes a strong sense of desire in her. Understand that you do not need to meet a woman's outrageous financial requirements, and possessing them won't guarantee you will be able to keep her anyway. This is another delusion of women, who think they'll be happy when they are with a guy who meets their requirements. They pass on great guys that don't fit their perfect model. If you're a guy who meets a woman's long list of requirements, then you are in the top 1%. Make sure the woman that you choose to provide for is worth providing for. The woman that you choose should be able to demonstrate her worthiness, more than the other women. She must provide some value to you beyond sex. The deluded women believe that they are entitled to receive your provisioning without qualification. Beware of these women. Don't fall into the trap of letting their self-confidence convince you that their beliefs are justified. Continuance number 3. Unfortunately for women, feminism has made all women believe that they are entitled to the top 1% of men. The effect this has is that 90% of men become invisible to women, and the currency of the top 10% of men is artificially inflated. This has created so much desire in these high-quality men because all women believe that they are entitled to them. These top 1% of men are now able to do whatever they want with women because they have unlimited choice. Women believe these men are common, but in fact they're a rare commodity. The continued failure for a woman to find a good man has led to a scarcity mentality with these women. And this is a powerful psychological driver for a woman to submit to a top-tier man when they find one. Smart men will realise this and use this to their advantage. They will most likely explore their options with other deluded women who believe that they are entitled to the top 1% of men too. When a woman does find this type of man, they often get a terrible experience and then go on to believe that all men are pigs. In reality, these women are judging men based on the behaviour of a few. The rest are invisible to them. This is another example of a deluded perception. If they only lowered their standards slightly, they would open up the opportunity to some truly amazing men that are out there. Understand that the opposite is not true for women. There are hot young women everywhere. There is always a new crop coming through. The top 1% of women are being turned over at a rapid rate. High-value men do not get turned over at such a rapid rate because for men it takes years and years of hard work to be in the top 1%. The top 1% of guys can afford to be more sexually selective than the top 1% of women because the top 1% of guys will remain in the top 1% for a lot longer, sometimes indefinitely, whereas this is not the case for women. This is the basic concept around the economics of supply and demand. The more the supply is reduced, the greater the demand. As a rational man, you must also consider future supply and future demand. When Giga Chad becomes attached, the supply is further marginalised. It takes longer for a man to become high value, and hence a high value man is harder to come by than a high value woman. Women are born with value and must do their best to preserve it. Men must create their own value by developing their ability to make something out of themselves so they can provide, preside, and protect. A man's biggest test is when he is successful. A woman's biggest test is when her man is not. Continuance number 4. Women frequently confuse their ability to secure a man for sex versus their ability to secure a man for a long-term relationship. These are not always the same, especially when it comes to securing a high-value man. A woman's sexual market value is determined by the caliber of man that she can keep around after sex. Almost all women with half-decent looks can attract any man they want for sex, but only the most cooperative and peaceful women who add value to a man's life will be considered for long-term relationships. Women mistakenly believe that their ability to have sex with a high-value man should parallel their ability to secure that high-value man for an ongoing relationship. It is this oversight that will increase their delusions of grandeur. While the attractive, combative and disagreeable women will be able to have sex with high-value men, they will not be kept around very long after sex, because these high-value men will much prefer the company of cooperative, submissive women. The more attractive and the less peaceful a woman is, the more deluded she becomes, because she will be able to attract more high-value men for one night but not be able to keep them around long term. This will give her a false understanding that she is on the same level of sexual market value as these men, and she will begin to believe that she is entitled to these men long term. If a woman maintains this expectation as her sexual market value declines, she will only become more deluded as she matures. Continuance number 5. Women are never held accountable by society. When a woman believes that she is entitled to a man, but then is rejected by that man, they will question what is wrong with men. In reality, it would benefit women more to look inward and see what is wrong with themselves that caused the rejection. After all, they have the ability to change themselves, but they do not have the ability to change the entirety of men. Generally, if one person has a problem with 3 billion people, then the chances are that the problem is not with those 3 billion people, but the individual themselves is the problem. When women behave like this, it is a cop-out. It is easier and more convenient for women to look outward, to blame others, rather than accepting responsibility for the situation that they find themselves in. Women who blame men will never incite change. Change starts from the inside out. I understand why it is difficult for them. No one helps them to understand their real sexual market value. In fact, all of society is compliant in this charade in the following 4 ways. Compliance number 1. Women are continually brainwashed to believe that they are a high-value female and they are entitled to a high-value male. Understand that women do not have an accurate perception of who is considered a high-value woman. They don't understand the male point of view and how we determine the value of women. Women frequently reinforce each other with a falsified sense of their own sexual market value. Women have a need to believe that they and their girlfriends are high value, so they can attract a group of high value men. They preach it until they believe it. This confirmation bias ensures the group continues to remain deluded to their own sexual market value as perceived by men. Compliance number 2. Men do not call out a woman's delusions of grandeur because they are too weak. Men think that by calling out a woman, they will jeopardize their opportunity to sleep with her. They believe that by agreeing with her, at whatever cost, they increase her attraction towards him. Ironically, the opposite is true. To speak your mind is to be confident in yourself, and this is attractive to women, even if they disagree. If you don't have the confidence or the ability to call her out, then just make sure that you don't reinforce the false reality that she believes. Compliance number 3. Governments and businesses do not want to correct the social conventions set by women because the economy and spending is built on consumerism. Women make 85% of consumer purchasing decisions, and a lot of this is because the men are paying for it. The continued misunderstanding that men should be spending money on all women because they are high value feeds the economy that makes capitalism thrive. Compliance number 4. Social media contributes to a woman's delusions of grandeur because of the attention they receive. Women post and get thousands of likes from low-value men who subscribe to various women that they want to sleep with. These low-value men, with no game, believe that liking a woman's raunchy photo increases the chances of him sleeping with her. What a woman perceives is thousands of men liking their photos and the endless opportunities they have. Their high self-opinion has now been confirmed. If only they took some time to look at the men liking their photos, they would realise that these are all low-value men. All they see is the quantity, not the quality of men that are liking their photos. What they take away from this is an inflated sense of value, which further contributes to their deluded sense of entitlement. If you are a man that does this, stop! You are only contributing to the problem. You should only like photos of the women that you don't want to sleep with. Unlearning their understanding. When women are told that they aren't entitled to these men, it goes against everything that they are told. It goes against their hopes and dreams, and the Disney fairy tales that perpetuated this understanding. The drastic change is often very, very hard to wrap their head around. It is so different to their conditioning that they almost don't want to believe it. When invested and conditioned in a belief for so long, it becomes an integral part of them. By destroying a woman's understanding of what she grew up learning, a piece of her must be destroyed with it. This is often too much to take on. The conditioning from family, friends, the government, and men make it impossible for a woman to see the truth, and so women often deny it when it is brought to their attention. Their denial is a quick and easy solution that solves every problem associated with accepting this uncomfortable, inconvenient truth. Denial allows them to hold on to the preferred understanding that most pleases them. It allows women to go on with their familiar conditioning. It preserves their ego. It alleviates them from accepting a new belief system that would otherwise cause them a lot of discomfort. People are more likely to deny and be skeptical of things that they don't want to believe. They will display a higher level of conviction bias through vehement denial. They will demand a higher level of proof to overpower this resistance. The more they don't want to see the truth, the more effort they will put into denying it, and the more examples they will require to make them see the truth. All of this happens within their subconscious. Denial itself is subconscious. It wouldn't work if it were conscious. Denial does not only mean that they are out of touch with reality, but it means that they are out of touch with the fact that they are even out of touch with reality. They don't even know that they don't know. This is dangerous because more denial will only push this concept further into their unconscious. Denial does not work in the long run. You cannot make a model irrelevant by ignoring its existence. For women, the sooner they realise this, the better off they will be, because then they can actually settle down with someone that is a suitable, balanced fit for them, before their sexual market value declines further, or worse, before their reproductive window closes. When a woman gracefully accepts that she is not capable of attracting a high-value man, she will be happier, because she will be able to peacefully enjoy a relationship. She will not embody the fear that she missed out on the man that she was told she was entitled to. If a woman fails to accept this early on, she will eventually be awoken to it. Denial eventually catches up with them. It's just a matter of how long they can continue to repress the truth. People are much more likely to believe something they discover for themselves rather than something they are told. It's hard for people to humble themselves and take on new information coming from another, especially when it goes against previous beliefs. When a woman has a traumatic first-hand experience caused by her delusions, it becomes too damaging to deny any further. Obviously, it is best to understand this before the downfall. Most of the time, these women will realise this at a time that it is too late. Women find it difficult to possess rationality and foresight to see what's ahead. They can only see the current situation for what it is in its current state. There are so many parallels between this conditioning on women to the blue pill conditioning on men that is so prevalent in our society. The resistance that I am faced with when I try to enlighten women on their conditioned understandings is frighteningly similar to the response that I get from blue-pilled men. To all the women out there struggling to come to terms with this, try to see it from a male perspective. Why would a high-value man want to date an older, lower-value woman? The proof of the pudding is in the eating. There is a very good reason why some women can't keep high-value men. Understand that when a rational man surveys his options and has a choice between you and a younger, prettier version of you, he will choose the latter every single time. Don't cling on to the dogma that's been taught. The sooner you come to terms with it, the happier and more fulfilling your relationships will become. To all the guys out there, try and understand it from a female's perspective. Imagine if you received hundreds of notifications or private messages from women daily. Receiving this unsolicited sexual attention on an ongoing basis would almost certainly go to your head. It would inflate your own sense of value. That is the way the human psyche operates. You might think that you are a rational male and will be smart enough to figure it out eventually. But remember that you perceive this through your own masculine experiences. Remember that women are emotional and don't ever experience the same rationality of men. They do not have this comparison. All they have is their own reality. Could you put yourself in their reality without a male perspective and still come to the same conclusion? I'm not so sure. Coupled with this social conditioning that has been evangelised on women since birth, is it any wonder that women today suffer from delusions of grandeur? Older women need to teach younger women the truth about their expectations, rather than continuing the deluded imperative. It's doing a disservice to everyone, men, women, young and old. For young men out there, beware of these deluded women. They are entitled. Their unresolved issues of theirs will surface in mysterious ways. Their entitlements will carry across to other areas of your life, and this will cause you much troubles in your relationships with them. Final thought for the young men out there. When a woman makes a man in her present pay for the mistakes of other men in her past, it should equal no future with you. Any woman with work to do on herself should be in therapy before she complicates her life with intimate relationships. Thanks for watching today's episode. In episode 28, I'll talk about why you should never stop learning. Subscribe and click the bell icon to be notified when it drops. Catch you then.